Well, it is that time of the year when individuals and families are getting away from the cold weather here in Michigan and going off to a sunny beach in Florida or or out west or going and traveling the world for spring break. But why not bring some sunshine to your communities right here in southeastern Michigan? Joining us to talk about some of those opportunities is Brandon Shamoun, the Assistant Director of Student Involvement at Wayne State University. Brandon, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Glad to have you on to talk about this. We've had people from Wayne State on in the past to talk about their alternative spring break program. But for those that may not be familiar, what is alternative spring break?
A lot of schools have this alternative spring break type of program where their students volunteer their time, whether it's in different cities across the country. Sometimes they go internationally. Here in Detroit at Wayne State, we stay in our backyard and give back to our community here.
And so, what does that look like in the Wayne State community? As you said, many of these universities, these colleges, even individual communities have alternative spring break programs, but it's really different in every area. So, for Wayne State students, what does that look like?
Yeah, so we take about a group of 40 to 60 students, and starting this Sunday, March 12th, until Friday, March 17th, we basically camp style, like a lock-in style, if you think of that kind of notion, where they stay all together, get their sleeping bags, inflatable mattresses. We stay at a church down in downtown Detroit, and from there, from Monday to Friday, are broken up into teams where they volunteer to different nonprofits and community organizations in the city, as well as Highland Park and Hamtramck, where they're giving their time and also learning about what these nonprofits can do and how they support our communities here in our backyard.
And so, how do you get in contact with these organizations in need to ultimately provide this help to them from student volunteers during this program? How do they come to you, or do you go to them?
It's a little bit of both, but I really put the support and all the influences from the students itself. It's all student ran programs, so the students we start planning back in November or so, and we pick our team leads, and the team leads then go out into the communities and find their sites. We also get a series of emails from sites that heard about this program since we've been around for about 20 years or so, knowing that we've been doing this every spring break. And then additionally, we've partnered in recent years with Share Detroit, a local nonprofit that helps us get engaged and connected with volunteer organizations as well within the community.
And you mentioned some of these organizations that you'll be partnering with Wayne State University, and their alternative spring break program. But what are some of the different needs that are going to be covered by your volunteers, or different activities they may participate in to help these organizations?
Yeah, so we'll be volunteering at different community gardens and farms across the city. Also doing some maintenance on parks. We're going to be going to Mariners Inn, which aids with different transient and homeless populations within the community as well amongst men. We've been doing some gardening prep for beds within that. So it's whatever is hands on. We really don't. We try to stay away from the cleaning of basements and old buildings with like a lot of files and cabinets and we have to sort through, but more of the intentional work that we're doing that our communities can see that will actually make a difference for these organizations.
So, how do people then get involved, Brandon? Is it as simple as showing up, or do they have to take some steps beforehand to participate in alternative spring break with your university?
Yeah, so typically we have 100 students that apply for the program, and unfortunately, we don't have 100 spots because we are limited in our sleeping space and just our transportation needs. So applications open every January. Any Wayne State student that takes at least one credit hour, whether you're a first year new student to Wayne State, a transfer student, a senior about to graduate, even medical students and law students that might be interested in the program are able to join. So they apply in January. From there, we look at applications amongst the team leads and our student coordinators in February and offer our decisions. And sometimes we have interviews because it is a highly selective process. And we want to make sure folks that are not yet engaged or really into the program or into the mission of the program have an opportunity to be a part of it. So we tend not to take returner students. We tend to take new students. we tend to take students who really want to make a difference, and those students who are not yet maybe connected as much within the community or at Wayne State, to get them open and aware of what's happening around our community.
You can learn more about volunteer opportunities at Wayne State University by visiting their website at wayne.edu. Wayne.edu for more information. Joining us on the program today is Brandon Shamoun, the Assistant Director of Student Involvement at Wayne State University. And Brandon, you mentioned this is a very selective program. Only about 100 students ultimately are going to be involved in alternative spring break this particular spring break season. But what other opportunities are there throughout the school year for people to participate in volunteer opportunities through Wayne State if they want to get involved, or maybe even if they just can't get involved in this particular project?
Yeah, so we at our website have a volunteer hub. It's basically a one-stop shop where whenever we get volunteer requests, or as a university, you need to reach out to students. We put all of our resources and our call outs on the volunteer hub website um, through the Dean of Students office. Additionally, I mentioned a little bit that we partner with Share Detroit, and we always connect students with the Share Detroit website because they have a robust list of organizations and events, and even outside of organizational events, on how you can donate maybe materials or time as well, or monetary values to different nonprofit organizations that are in need across the community and even outside of Wayne County here.
More information, again, can be found on wayne.edu. Wayne.edu for students. As Brandon said, all you need is 1 credit hour as a student at Wayne State this semester in order to participate in alternative spring break, as well as similar programs. My apologies. In the future. Again, wayne.edu is the website for more information. And Brandon, in terms of the experience, what do students typically get out of this experience? Because they're able to really get involved in the community in a number of different facets and see different organizations that are making a really big impact and themselves make an impact too.
Yeah, so the biggest thing is you get to meet, about 30 to 50 other students. And so if you don't get anything out of the program, I tell my students that you have the opportunity to meet other Wayne State students and connect with them even outside of the program. I'm an alum of the program myself from 2013, and I'm still in contact with a lot of students from that program. Additionally, we understand that this is a snapshot of the volunteerism that happens in the community. We're only doing it for 5 days within the city. And the goal is to let students know and understand that it is a snapshot, and it's an opportunity for you to learn more and do more outside of spring break. And from there, we have different student organizations that kind of branch off this alternative spring break program and really go back and continue that volunteerism throughout those nonprofits that they discover during this program. So in all, we really hope to embrace the friendship and networking that students really connect with during the program, as well as the awareness and understanding of what the nonprofit needs are.
Having participated in this yourself, as you said, Brandon, and now helping to organize this as in your role with Wayne State University, communicating with these organizations, just how much of an impact does it have on them to have this sort of volunteerism from the Wayne State University community right there in Detroit to help people in Detroit?
It's a huge impact. And so we have a lot of alum in the community, a lot of alum that are in the nonprofit fields. And so when they hear that there's 30 to 40 students that want to come volunteer at their service site during spring break, they're usually ecstatic for the time. Sometimes it's hard for them to find a project that has that many students because they're not usually typically getting that many volunteers at once. So we really try to be innovative and have a discussion with them and see, hey, what can we do during this week with you all? And so it's really heartwarming to see that these students are going into the field and doing that. And then again, explaining to those nonprofit leaders what Wayne State's all about. And if they haven't been onto our campus in many years, if they were an alum, they kind of talk about their student story and student experience. So it's full circle from there. And we really enjoy that with our nonprofit leaders there.
Again, more information can be found on wayne.edu. Wayne.edu to search volunteer, and you can navigate to their volunteer hub for more information on volunteer opportunities all across the year through Wayne State University, including their alternative spring break program, which, Brendan, you said usually for those that weren't able to apply for this year or aren't able to participate, if they want to in the future, that usually those applications begin in about January, correct?
Correct. Yep. January for every winter semester.
Okay, and they go through that process, and about 100 students do get in, but there's plenty of other opportunities all throughout the year. You mentioned the partnership with Share Detroit. We also have a partnership with them. We talk to many nonprofits here in our local area throughout each and every month on the Megacast. But working with them, having this one organization too that's able to help communicate between your university and these organizations that are in need or services that are in need in Detroit, how has that helped to make alternative spring break through Wayne State University that much more effective in the community?
It has been really rewarding for us to partner with Share Detroit. They have really opened the doors for us to learn more about the nonprofits. Our students, like I said, this is a student-ran program, and I'm just here as an advisor. So sometimes students don't know what they don't know besides Googling and just doing some cold calling on their own. And Share Detroit has really offered to be that catalyst for the nonprofit community within getting us connected with them at Wayne State for this program. So it's really been a great partnership. This is about, I believe, our third year working with them to really get that going and to make sure that we are really connecting with those meaningful partners and making sure our students are doing meaningful activities at those service sites.
More information, again, can be found on wayne.edu. Wayne.edu is the website for volunteer opportunities at Wayne State University, including alternative spring break that is happening next week in Detroit with impacts across the community for a number of nonprofits. You'll want to learn more. Again, wayne.edu for more information. And Brandon, before we let you go, a few more minutes, anything else we haven't discussed about alternative spring break or other volunteer opportunities through Wayne State for students or just for others in the community as well that would like to participate that you'd like to discuss?
I just like to say, and I tell our students this all the time, that although that Detroit is really big and Wayne State's a really big place to be in, just getting your foot in the door and discovering and trying something different, even though it's not maybe what you're used to as a hobby or what what your major is in. I tell our students to try something different, try something new, make a difference in that, and it'll leave a lasting impact. And you never know, it might be something that you want to do for the rest of your life, and just giving back and within that. So I always tell students to discover themselves and try more. And this is a really good program to be a part of that, to do more and do that.
It's something you can get started with right now online at wayne.edu. Brandon, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me.